Hello everyone, we are here today with another Dead Cells run. Today is going to be a run of the Ferryman's Lantern. I played this on stream the other day, but other than that I hadn't really tried it out, and I did a run. It was kind of a test run, kind of figure out, see its gimmicks, try and learn the weapon a bit, and see how it goes. And I found out that it's probably one of my favorite weapons to play in all of Dead Cells right now. I ended up using the Flask and Vengeance, and the synergy between the Lantern, Vengeance, and Flask is absurd. I think Flask in general is kind of absurdly strong in brutality. Like, it is... With Vengeance, it's arguably the best skill in the game, in my opinion. I'm not sure yet, but I've been getting Tonic 2.0 vibes from using Flask in my brutality runs lately. But yeah, it was a really fun run. I actually had completed my test run, quote unquote, but I ended up playing god awful in the last half of that run. I accidentally used a potion when I was at max HP to clear my malaise at one point, just because I misclicked. I was just playing like an idiot. But yeah, this is a really fun run, and I hope you enjoy. So let's just jump right into the run. Alright, and going right into the run, the first thing I was looking for, and I have been looking for with my other Ferryman Lantern runs, because I'm getting a lot of footage for it. It's definitely going to be part of a guide at some point, I think, if I end up making it, but I definitely want to. But the very first thing I'm going to be looking at, like I had mentioned in the intro, is a Flask. That is just a perfect synergy with Vengeance, and it's really been kind of how I've been starting a lot of my brutality runs, if possible, lately. It's just such a great item. But if I can't find that, I'm not panicking. One of the things that Ferryman Lantern has is that you can get very early on is ammo. Ammo will double that soul collection, and that damage that the soul lantern thing is just absurd. It really is really strong. But yeah, other than that, I'm looking for either a stun grenade, ice armor, an ice grenade, something that I can use as an actual stun versus the enemies. In my very first run, I ran a Rampart with Armadillo Pack, and it's very good. But one thing I learned in that first run is that you sort of have to keep your mutations the entire way, and more importantly, you have to do your mutation run the biome before a boss, or your mutation changes the biome before a boss. Otherwise, you will lose that ammo, and that ammo is very, very important to those boss fights. Another thing I'm going to be doing with the soul shot is that if I'm down a long hallway where I know there's an enemy, but I'm not entirely sure what the enemy is or if it's safe to go there, I'll start charging up that lantern once I'm close to in range of them, because it will just nuke any regular enemy with ease. But yeah, once I get into Promenade, I was actually really lucky. I got Flask and ice armor within I know that my ice armor was in my 30 door. I'm not sure what the Flask is. I think it was in a shop. But then I got lucky again and got a upgrade to my lantern and Promenade. So I was really, really lucky in terms of RNG for this run, in terms of weapons. Another thing I'm looking for early on with the Flask, or not the Flask, with the lantern itself, is to get the victim slow nearby enemies fix, because that's going to allow me to rotate between these enemies, especially with Vengeance, and just clear them out. Now right here, this is a mistake I made a couple of times that I really didn't realize until the very end that I was doing, but sometimes with those elites, you can, if you're using Flask, you can have that electrocute nearby enemy fix, which is really good because it kills bats, but the negative side of it is that it'll aggro elites. I realized that way late into the run, like way later than I should, so that's something to definitely keep in mind. But as you can see, just nukes that failed experiment right there. I don't even have maxed out red yet because I did some RNG manipulation with the scrolls, and this strategy is just really powerful and really consistent. And part of that's just because Flask and Vengeance is just so absurdly good right now. Bella to proc Vengeance for free. It doesn't even remove your kill streak or damage you during curses. It damages you during curses, but it doesn't kill you. It doesn't remove boss doors either. And yeah, Flask is just absurdly powerful. But other than that, I'm just trying to make sure I have enough ammo. I'm not playing skittish with it. I need to, you know, make sure that if I'm in a situation where I need the ammo, I have it, but I'm not afraid to use it in those situations. Because if I just try to hoard those souls all the way to a boss, I'm mitigating like half the strength of the weapon. Or not even half the strength. The soul shot is very much a key aspect to the strength. That's why it's okay that I'm running Phase Flask plus Ice Armor. You can argue Phase Flask is a very strong mutation, but it's a support one that doesn't do damage itself. It just adds to your damage, right, with Vengeance. But all of my damage is in both the Lantern and that Soul Shot, and the Soul Shot has unlimited ammo, but I need to not be afraid to use that. Now, I was probably a little dumb just diving directly on top of that Lacerator, but, you know, I got lucky. It was fine. Another thing to keep in mind with this combo specifically, if you have a stun grenade or whatever, or a flamethrower, which I end up getting way late into the run, another thing to keep in mind is that not to use your Phase Flask if your Ice Armor is up. Otherwise, you're just going to be breaking your Ice Armor and not getting the bonus effect of the Phase Flask. So it's, you know, it's just something to keep in mind. But yeah, there's this Dark Long Call, and I'm kind of nervous to drop down there without my Ice Armor. I thought about waiting it out, but I was like, whatever, it'll be fine. And I got pretty lucky because there's a hammer and a Lacerator, so that could have been really bad. Hammer's definitely a little annoying. I actually got hit by one of those grenades there. They're annoying if you can't get that charge shot off early. You also are noticing I have an Armadillo pack, Porky pack. What I ended up finding, and this is incredibly strong, I think in general with Brutality, even outside of Brutality, you could run this in Tactics or the freaking other one, Survival, is that if you find a melee item with the affix, it's like the Vampire affix, where you take ×2 damage but heal 1% HP. You don't take that extra damage, but you still get that HP when you roll through an enemy. So it's just every time I roll through an enemy, I'm getting 1% HP. Essentially, it's definitely like the best healing affix in the game if you can find that combo. So if you want to, you can replace whatever Gastro. Although Gastro, obviously in Survival at least, has the bonus of, there you see me aggroing the elites again with my thing, but I can just nuke them with the shot if I time it right. But yeah, definitely, outside of like Gastro and Survival, the benefits of having that roll through are just so absurdly worth it, especially if you get it on something like a Blood Sword or whatever, because you're getting a free dot on top of that. Or in my case, this rapier just does good damage with its roll through. You'll see it kill a couple of enemies in this run just as a roll, especially with the Vengeance boost, right, where it's getting the crit on its roll through because it's rolling, and rapier gets a crit on a roll, right? But so it's getting that, plus it's healing me. Now I do go into Morass. I wanted to fight Momatic. And bye. That is the most satisfying thing. I hate those giant ticks so much. They're annoying, and I'm pretty much set at this point. I have ammo on my lantern. I found another lantern, I believe, at this point already, and it doesn't have anything super strong affix-wise, but it doesn't need stuff. There's a Challenger, by the way, that I found. Pretty lucky that it just happened to pop up in such a good spot. But the thing about the Soul Shot specifically is it doesn't need anything super difficult to get. I like to at least have ammo +3 on it and pierce an enemy. It can pierce all, but that's a star affix. And then on the main hand itself, I like to have like 20% damage, and obviously if I can get more damage, that's great. But 20% damage. But the main one is victims slow nearby enemies, is that I really want that. But yeah, going through Morass, it's not too hard. Those little spear guys gave me a little bit of issue throughout the run, but it wasn't too bad. I was kind of overestimating my damage at certain points, and I was like, I should be able to kill these guys in one swing, it'll be fine. And then I didn't, and I'd get hit. So you know, they got a couple of tags on me, definitely early on. I also didn't have great necklaces set up yet. You see my scroll spread is 8, 3, and 3, so my damage isn't too crazy. But yeah, more or less overall was pretty easy. Though obviously the curse I need to be wary of, which I say I need to be wary of, but you're gonna see I just grab it here. But yeah, I just need to be careful with it. I ended up seeing a toothpick. I would have loved if that would have had the vampirism type of fix. I call it vampirism, but I don't really know what it's called. I think it's a lifesteal. That sounds right, lifesteal. But if that had the lifesteal fix on it with the roll through and just doing giant damage, that would have been pretty solid. I thought about maybe taking it and trying to roll for it, but you know, I already had the rapier, so why would I take that risk? If you don't find one of those rapiers or like a weapon with that affix early on, you can just replace it with the armadillo pack if you have a shield in your backpack. Obviously, disengage is totally fine. I think overall, unless you're fishing for those those affixes or have a good shield or whatnot, disengage is probably your best go-to with those things. I wait for my face flask here just for these slashers, just because I want to, you know, risk it. But yeah, I think overall disengage is probably your best bet, and you know, just that straight up line of 3 of vengeance ammo disengage is more than good enough to win the run in most cases. But yeah, not too bad of a Morass. I think I'm almost done with the footage. I'm not entirely sure what I wanted to show here. I think it was just me rolling through some enemies. But yeah, not too bad. Like I said, once you find that first face flask, that first armor, you don't need another one. Obviously, if you find another one that has bonus affixes on them or whatnot, or they both give damage reduction as well, which is another really big benefit, because if you think about it, once you that damage isn't irrelevant, because I believe Vengeance is 30% damage reduction plus another 14 or so from both the face flask and armor. That's a 50% damage reduction essentially. Now I accidentally didn't charge my lantern enough there to get shot, so I'm gonna have to swing through the eyeball the rest of the way. Otherwise I could have just nuked it in one hit. That's something that's especially important in boss fights, is to make sure you're getting that fully charged crit off with those orbs, just to maximize its damage, because you're gonna see once I actually do use the orbs here on this with the Vengeance boost, it's just going to nuke through her HP. Shoot her with it once and then do a couple of swings and she's already back to the spike phase. So really solid. If you don't know, you can go to either of the walls. I prefer the right wall because the UI is a little less in the way. Obviously it fades out, but the walls will always strike twice, so as long as you can dodge both those walls, you are fine. So yeah, she's just doing that, not even moving forward with it because she's stupid, and just gonna swing with the lantern. Easy no hit. Like I said, the only real issue with Mutation ever is those spikes that come out, and if you get tilted by getting hit by her once, she can kind of snowball hit on you pretty hard. But a lot of bosses can snowball hit on you pretty hard in this game. I believe I end up going through Village in this run. I'm not 100% sure. I know I showed the footage. I don't remember what it is. I think it's a cluster raid. I know for a fact I got like 5 or 6 legendaries I just didn't show in this run. That they just kept popping up, and I was like, how come these never pop up in runs when I'm not trying to showcase an item, right? But yeah, Graveyard I know for a fact was kind of just boring. It was really easy. I got tagged once or twice here and there by little hits, but other than that, I know there's not a lot to show in this. But yeah, going pretty good so far. I do know at some point I upgrade my Ferryman's lantern to have, it might have been in Graveyard or some point after Graveyard, essentially. It was somewhere around this point, where it had, the main swing had bonus to burn in oil, and that catcher hit me there, by the way. That really annoyed me when that happened. But it had bonus to burn in oil, and then the soul shot had both bonus to bleed and bonus to poison. So I kept that in my head. I was like, I really want to try and figure out something. And what I kept in my mind was maybe I can get a either a blood sword or a snake vein or something that has that affix with the I'm blanking on the lifesteal fix, but yeah, I was like, maybe I can find one of those and up my damage on top of that with the rapier instead of the rapier. But yeah, there wasn't really anything in Graveyard, and I wasn't finding it yet, but I do end up finding a snake vein later that I end up regretting taking, but I end up fixing it afterwards. This curse was weird. This entire start to Sepultura was really, really weird. I kind of scouted ahead just to make sure there wasn't anything super stupid and annoying. And I was like, alright, I don't see anything too bad, so I'll just take it. And the enemies should all be in this room right up ahead, because that's almost always how Sepultura works with curses. So yeah, I'm going to kill this Inquisitor, and I'm going to go over here and see. I'm like, hey, a guaranteed light source, that's pretty lucky, right? That way I don't have to worry about that during the curse. And just going to clear out these couple guys. I'm like, alright, not too bad. And then I see this, and I'm like, kind of weird. And I see this portal, I'm like, okay, whatever, I'll teleport into the next section and fight it out. I have the ice armor, so I should be fine. And it's the key. So I entered the room, went through 3 enemies, and already got to the first key. It was really, really odd. But, wasn't too bad. I just, slowly make my way back. I think I have to go through an obstacle of just like some traps here. I think it's a couple of like spikes or something like that I have to just be mindful of. But yeah. Oh, I end up seeing a new face flask in here, but I don't take it right away because mine has the oil that burns on the ground. And I was like, do I want to risk not being able to reroll for that? Because face flask doesn't have a lot of rerolls, but I don't want to I don't want to necessarily take that chance. So I was like, I was kind of, going back and forth because my Ferryman lantern did have that bonus to burn in oil at this point. I end up dropping into here and seeing it's a nightmare of a room, and that I end up getting hit right after that curse. But yeah, it was just a lot of enemies and no lights anywhere. So really weird start to Sepultura, but other than that, it was pretty uneventful. Like I said, I do end up getting a Snake Veins over the Rapier. It doesn't have that healing affix, the lifesteal, but it does give me poison and it spreads oil, which allowed me to take that other face flask earlier that just burned the ground and get a little bit more damage reduction, which, is important. I think I'd also found another ice armor at this point to get myself to where I was like getting 17-18% damage reduction on top of Vengeance. So, that number isn't insignificant at all. As you can see, though, that rapier does, if you can find a good weapon in that backpack with that affix, it's definitely worth it. And if not, Armadillo pack is great. I end up later on taking, I'll show you the actual weapon in just a minute in the footage, but I end up later on taking Acrobatic pack with a ranged weapon to where I can fire off the Ferryman shot once to get its effects. But yeah, I end up going to Timekeeper, and as soon as I walked in that door, I was like, I don't want to go to High Peak. I didn't want to go to any of the maps, but I walked through the door and I was like, man, I wish I would have went to Giant so I could just skip straight to Hand of the King. I'm back in that phase where I'm like, I don't want to ever go through any of those 3 maps. But Timekeeper, I'm going to be able to nuke her really quick. Just take out her to 1 HP. And all I need to do is get one more charge shot off and I'll be good. But this is where I make a bit of a blunder where I don't get the full charge off. And I end up getting hit. So, unfortunately, I lose the no-hit, but it's not a huge deal, right? That's one of those things that you definitely need to just be greedy. It's okay to be greedy with those, with that charge up, because the result is so worth it. And if you mess up, you have a very limited ammo supply. You can see that I went through all my ammo there, and I'm having to get it back in High Peak. High Peak, not a ton to show. As soon as I walked in here, I said, I don't want to do a full clear of this. I want to just get all the scrolls and scroll fragments and get out. So I sort of just, I ignored a lot of enemies in this. I pretty much ignored almost all of the side rooms. I think I cleared out this one, but the red and blue ones, I ended up just going straight to the elites, essentially. But be careful with those guys. Those guys have a underrated amount of HP, and it's always so scary going for it. As you can see, I do have those snake veins, so now I have that poison dot for my soul shot, and as well as the burn and oil, able to get off fairly consistently for my Ferryman's lantern, right? So pretty good. I do have a 3 red scroll there, which I end up carrying to the end of the game, I believe. I see this hemorrhage. I'm like, okay, I can't take advantage of it right away, because if I reset my mutations, my ammo will split back in half versus Hand of the King. So I can take a hard fight versus Hand of the King, and then take that hemorrhage into the final spoiler stuff. So I was like, that, that's kind of my game plan that I'm thinking in my head. I was like, I'll just have a harder fight versus Hand of the King without the Porcupine, or without the Porcupine or Acrobata pack, essentially, and go from there. I ended up taking that purple because I'm like, it's not gonna make a huge difference stat wise. It makes a little bit, but I took that purple, and this is a scary room. But yeah, just charge up those shots and everything dies, right? But yeah, it's like, I'll take that purple just to make my Acrobata pack a little bit stronger. Other than that, it was kind of a boring high peak. But yeah, I took that hemorrhage, so I'll be able to get that bleed plus poison with just a single shot, and then I can do a full charge up and hopefully nuke stuff, right? Hand of the King, though, I end up getting a flamethrower here, which is going to help, it's going to help my damage a good amount. I ended up getting hit by that slash, which was unfortunate. I thought I rolled through it. Even in rewatching it, I was like, man, I should have dodged that. But not too bad. I ended up missing that flag, which is kind of annoying because I have to get back over here. Good thing about Hand of the King is you do get a little bit of ammo back for your soul shot. And if he does that, you just get a full amped up shot and just can destroy him. So, yeah, pretty easy Hand of the King fight. Like I said, that little tag he got on me was annoying, but not a big deal. My scrolls are pretty good, 32-5-4. Like, obviously I have... by the way, spoiler content for the rest of the run, in case you care about 5BC exclusive stuff. And moving on. Yeah, I obviously have 5-4 on my green and purple. So I have, 8... quote-unquote bad scrolls, but that survival is nice, honestly. That extra bulk is not irrelevant, and people underrate bulk and Dead Cells all the time, saying you only can have maxed out damage, but bulk is very good in this game sometimes. But here I'm going to reset the mutations. I'm just giving time for the people who didn't want to see the 5BC exclusive stuff. But I'm going to get Acrobata pack to go with that hemorrhage. Hemorrhage is really strong. It's also going to stun the enemies, which is really nice, because I'll be able to just tag them quick with that in case I'm in a scary situation, and then even hit them with the lantern, right? So, it's a really good combo. I don't have the ice armor, which is going to be a problem for the genies. Not the genies. Is it the genies? One of these enemies is called the genie, but I don't think it's the one I'm thinking of. The ones that fly above you with the lasers. I'm blanking on their names. I don't think they're called the genies. I think the genies are the other ones. The guys who shoot the skull lasers out. And those ones are the... I'm not sure. I'll have to double check that. But yeah. Like I said, they'll be a little bit scarier without ice armor to save me from a bind. Flamethrower won't do much against them. I'm pretty sure these guys are the genies right here. But yeah, other than that, just, gotta be smart. Not play too risky. Anytime you overextend and play too fast in this map does really punch. Please tell me I don't miss that secret on that wall. I'm not sure if I do. I know I cut the footage here in a second, but I hope I didn't forget that. But yeah, as long as you don't go too fast on this map, it's not too bad. There's also a food shop guaranteed, so malaise isn't too big of an issue as long as you have your... as long as you have some money left over. But that's obviously easier than done. I absolutely destroy them right there with that. And then I go into the longest duel with this this failed experiment. So he fights me over there, teleports to chase me as I miss him, teleports back down, teleports back down here, dodges me, and then I finally roll in and kill him. So good duel, failed experiment. Other than that, it was a fairly easy. I actually was surprised that I ended up getting the 60 here. This is a hard map to get a 60 on. I ended up getting tagged fairly soon after this, I think by a slammer or something like that. But I actually ended up getting tagged a few times. I ended up using a potion at some point just to play it safe, because I ended up using the food and a potion, I think. But I didn't buy a new potion because I knew 3 potions was more than enough to beat the collector. So I was like, shouldn't be too hard being able to get through here. I think might be the slimer that gets me. Yeah, I thought he was gonna turn around, so I tried to get a little cheeky there. I honestly should be using my soul shot a bit more in this map, just to kill some of these slammers in particular. But yeah, it wasn't too bad. Here's the final build. Like I said, have a lot of damage potential. The soul shot can really mess him up. That said, this is a longer fight with a lot of HP to burn through, so that limited ammo will become relevant, right? Which is why, especially in this fight, the ammo mutation is probably the most important. I'd say, though, you want ammo mutation throughout the entire game, if I'm being honest, just because it makes you be able to play a lot more greedy with your soul shots. I'm really mad still that one hit me. I was definitely not in his range, but it's fine. But yeah, he's going to do that. I'm going to hit him again with a bit of a burst, and then I'm going to just go to swinging at him. Not waste my... I'm going to heal up. That's probably a smart call, just to be safe. But yeah, I'm going to be able to get a couple of souls back from these enemies here, and not too bad. I'll be able to hit him really hard. See, I ended up using the hemorrhage there to get him bleeding as well. That way I could nuke all of his HP bar. Not sure how much of a difference that made with boss caps, but that was the idea, and I wanted to at least try it, right? So he's going for these lasers. Thankfully, I have plenty of practice on that. That said, I've not played this fight in a long time at this point. I've played a bit since I've come back, but I'm definitely at a practice where I was able to no-hit this one very consistently. Not sure why I went to hold to heal something. I might have been trying to click my face flask and misclicked, but that's fine. Just gonna dodge that, and I don't quite have enough ammo to get a crit off. I was actually looking at that. I only have 2 shots, so I was like, I think I just hold on to it in case I end up going to another door phase. That way I can get some ammo back from those. Nope, I ended up shooting it. Oh no, because I knew this was final phase. That's why. Yeah. So I was like, I'll just shoot because it's good damage. I probably should have used the potion first, but I ended up healing with I ended up using the face flask first, but it's fine. Probably could have killed him a cycle earlier. But yeah, not too bad of a fight. Just take him out right there. And yeah, I think face flask and the lantern are busted together. I think face flask is busted on its own, right? But combined with the lantern, the ability to just nuke stuff with its Y button or triangle or right click, I think is what mouse and keyboard uses. But yeah, it was a really good run, really fun run, and I definitely enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I know I've been kind of getting about a video a week out, give or take, and maybe a stream in between. And I'm trying to move towards like 2 videos a week, but I definitely don't want to make a promise on that. That said, I am making good progress on learning new items, learning red. Red has been a struggle for me. I've not had a lot of success with red runs, but I definitely am getting better and working on a guide. Like I said, I'm trying to work on maybe doing a 15 builds all in one instead of 3 10 builds, like 10 brutality, 10 tactics and survival. Instead of that, do 5 of each all in one video. Ferryman's Lantern will absolutely be in that. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, if you made it this far, and I hope you all have a great day. So bye bye.